Today, I'm sitting down with Caroline, who is a self-taught designer that went from booking $400 projects to landing her first $4,000 client after graduating our signature program, Design Biz Academy University. I'm going to be asking her about the changes that she made in her business to help her land that first high-ticket client, and hopefully you can take something from her story and apply it to your own business to start booking higher-ticket clients today. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the podcast. I am here with a DBA graduate and somebody that also attended our recent retreat at the Brief Collective. So Caroline, do you want to further introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Caroline Corson, and I am a mostly self-taught designer. I went to school to be an art teacher and then realized that I don't like children except for my own. So, yeah, I joined DBA this past February.
How did you decide to go into design? Like, you went to school to be a teacher and then you're like, this isn't for me. How did you even come up with the idea like, oh, design might be the right path for me?
Yeah, kind of a roundabout way. My stepdad owned and started a marketing firm in Atlanta called Pure Red, and right out of high school I got a little internship shadowing their product photography. So that was like my intro into okay, marketing is kind of cool. I could as far as the visuals go. Then going to school, COVID really threw a wrench in my plans. So I had to graduate quickly and then get married so that I could live with my husband. So that was a whole thing. But then I started working at the nonprofit that his family works at, and they needed somebody to do brochures and stuff. So I really just started kind of picking on what I learned in college and teaching myself. And I would say I have evolved a lot in the past 5 years.
Same.
But yeah, so kind of a long, not very interesting story, but that's it.
And you kind of started out like in Canva, right?
Oh, for sure. With the shame of knowing I'm a Canva designer because all five of my roommates in college were graphic design, major or whatever. So yeah, I had Canva designer shame.
I mean, I think a lot of self-taught designers kind of start down that path though. Like,
Yeah.
that's what got you started and got you into it. Like, great, keep going, keep learning. And I just say
Yeah.
I can tell because a lot of the designers I meet who are self-taught that started in Canva, they all kind of come in with like this look to their graphics that just feels kind of like it's from Canva, but now you've rebranded, which I'm so freaking happy about, and you've just come such a long way. So do you want to talk a little bit about like maybe just you're starting out like pricing journey, getting clients, and then what that looks like now?
Yeah, for sure. My first branding client was a close friend of mine who was starting a coffee shop, and I did it for free. They asked me if I could do it, and I was like, yeah, I think I can. And I did do it in Canva, but I used all my own icons from Procreate and made a little badge and stuff. I was really trying hard. I would definitely rebrand it now very differently, but it was called Greenhouse Coffee. It was super cute. I'm glad that was my first project because it was a really chill, my husband's guy friend, and he was super chill, and he was like, yeah, this looks great. And I got to see my designs and signage and stuff for the first time, and I was like, wow. So then I kind of started getting a little bit more clients from people in our friend group. I did a branding and website for a farm, like a local cow farm.
I mean,
And
that's cool. That's
I know
amazing.
it is cool, but anyway, they did the meat boxes and stuff, so they would wholesale grass-fed meat. And so I designed the boxes, I designed the branding and everything. That was kind of a shit show, not gonna lie, because they were a friend, but husband and wife. The wife was pregnant, so she kind of checked out, and the husband did not know how to communicate, and I didn't know what I was doing, trying to be as professional as possible. But it got drawn out, I would say probably 9 months.
Dang.
um
So that's
yeah.
like that's not profitable at that point at all.
No, and I only got paid $800 right on the front end. So by the tail end of it, I'm
Negative 800.
yeah. So yeah, that was the whole thing.
How did that make you feel getting paid $800 for 9 months worth of work? Like, did you know in that moment, like, fuck, I undercharged?
Well, when I first booked them, I was like, oh shit, $800, you know? But then by the end of it, I was like, I am not getting paid enough to decipher what you want, what you don't want, what you think you want. they're telling me they want earthy tones, and I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like just all the stuff that comes with that. But like I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, by the end of it, I was like, nah, I gotta raise my prices.
And how
Um,
did you come across Design Biz Academy and what made you even consider our program?
I think I've been following you guys on Instagram for a good while. I don't know when I first started following you, but
Because I was like tracking you down at some point, and I'm like, it's been over a year. Are you gonna do this or what?
no, yeah, it's been way more than a year. Like I had followed you guys for probably like 2 years, and then I applied when y'all first like introduced the DBA scholarship, I think, and the like letter I sent in was trash. Like I think about it now and I'm like, yeah, that was bad. But yeah, I don't know. I like followed you guys on Instagram. I think I like really enjoyed seeing some of the briefs and stuff. And that was like before I even knew how to do a mock-up. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. So then yeah, I don't know. And then Kinsey tracked me down. I was like, oh shit. So then I joined the DBA semester like a week after, but you sent me a voice message.
Yeah, and when you joined DBA, was the highest you had been paid at that point $800?
Yeah, for a full branding and web, like, and I think I did like a photo shoot too.
Damn, it just gets worse and worse.
It really do. I set up their Canva and their Facebook and everything.
Just uncover more things that you did that you didn't get paid for.
No, quite literally.
So, how did you decide? I know you were following us for a long time, but like, how did you finally decide to invest in a program that's thousands of dollars when you hadn't yet experienced that type of client or project for yourself?
Well, I'd considered starting DBA before I got pregnant with my son. Then I got pregnant with my son, and it kind of like everything took a back seat. And then at that time, he had just turned 1, and I was like, I really need to do something. Like I need some kind of mentorship, or like, I was considering like a life coach or whatever, but yeah, I just knew I needed something. And then I felt like you reaching out to me was like kind of a sign, because I had also at the same time that you reached out to me booked a design client, and it had been a year since I'd done anything. So I was like, I don't know, I just kind of took it as a sign, like, okay, this is cool, like put both feet in, give it your all, and like see what can come of it. And then by the end of DBA, I was obviously like sold, and you and Marissa were like better than any life coach ever. So I mean, for real. So like, yeah, I don't know, how did I decide like specifically? It was kind of a culmination of things, but I felt like it was meant to be.
I think, and one of the reasons I ask that is because the biggest like hesitation I hear from designers who I know could benefit from joining Design Biz Academy University is that they're afraid to make that investment. They've never booked a $5,000 plus client or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so they're like afraid, well, I'm not going to invest until I get that client. But it's like part of the program is teaching you how to get those clients. It's investing
Yeah.
to get those clients. So like that's why I asked that question, because I really like to uncover and hear from people like, why were you able to make that investment while there's others who have booked even higher ticket clients than you and still are hesitating to make that investment?
Yeah, I feel like that's a great way to put it. I mean, honestly, when you reached out to me, like, and up until about a month and a half ago, I was like dead broke. Like I was like, there's absolutely no freaking way I can afford to invest in myself. Like I just have to hustle and grind. But you guys made it really accessible. I felt like by the end of it, I'm like, this was 100% worth my money. So there was no like regrets or anything. And then especially the retreat, seeing everybody in person, like that was priceless. Yeah, I think it is super scary to invest in yourself. I mean, I was super scared and I didn't have the means for it, but I knew something had to change and I took the leap, and I'm glad that I did.
Yeah, I like that you say like, if I didn't do anything, nothing was going to change, because what we've been asking people lately is like, what you've been doing now got you to this point, but if you keep doing what you've been doing for the next 90 days, where are you going to be in 3 months from now? Probably
Yeah.
the exact same spot. Like something has to change. And I
Yeah.
also think that it's really important. You said by the end of DBA, it was 100% worth it. And you hadn't even booked your first high ticket client yet, and you still
No.
said that. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about your journey? Because I think your journey in particular really stands out to me in the fact that you continued to have faith and continued to invest because you went to the retreat too. And then you eventually booked that high ticket client. But it took a lot of like belief and staying, staying the course, even though you weren't getting results as maybe some other people have gotten results.
Yeah. It was discouraging at first, I'll say, because it did take me 6 to 7 months post graduation to book my first high ticket client. And like high ticket, like I'm in the middle of this project now and I'm like, yeah, I probably should have charged more. So, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Before you continue, do you want to share what that number is?
yeah, it was 3,900. So, like, right under 4K, basically.
And now you're like, I should have even charged more than that.
Yeah, I have regrets from undercharging because I can go into that later, but because of like the amount of line items and deliverables. But it was discouraging seeing other people win. But I always have a philosophy of like, if I can't celebrate other people's wins, then like, when it happens to me, not if, how can I expect them to like, celebrate me? So like I was like seeing other people win, celebrating them, and like, okay, when is my time gonna come? Not in like a rar, I don't want you to win type of way,
Yeah,
but
it's just like, when the fuck is this gonna happen for me? Like,
yeah.
for everybody else, like, I'm doing
But
the work, I'm showing up. When is it gonna happen for me?
yeah, for sure. And I think DBA, the reason I say like even before it ended, I knew it was like worth my money is because of the resources that you have in the program. Like, and the live coaching calls, the community, like you and Marissa checking in on me even post graduation, like all of those little things like make your course so much different from other courses. And I've not taken a ton of online courses, but I've like, signed up for some like cheap little 5-day video course type stuff for like SEO and little skills. I mean, I don't know exactly how it compares, but to me, it's very, very different. And I can see with all of the online courses circling the internet how people, may be hesitant. But for DBA in particular, which is the only thing I can speak to, it was 100% worth it because of the personalization, the care.
And do you think that attending the retreat and having that in-person experience was ultimately like the catalyst that finally allowed you to book that client? Because you literally went to the retreat and then once we got back, you had booked that high ticket client finally.
Yeah, I think that the retreat gave me some confidence that I needed. It gave me a little bit of reprieve from like hustling, I think.
Mhm.
And as well, like the inspiration to like reach out, send voice messages, like you gave us very actionable steps. And I mean, I'm still on a high from the retreat and still gleaning things. Like I went through Bethany's presentation the other day again and was taking new notes. You know what I mean? Like I have new ideas. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a catalyst.
And you rebranded, which is
Yeah, I did.
awesome because I had been nudging you for like
Yeah.
months. And it's so funny because so many designers come into Design Biz Academy and like they go through the process and brand themselves or rebrand. And then like months later, they usually ultimately end up rebranding again because I feel like so much growth happens in that short period of time.
100%, yeah. I was telling this to some of the girls at the retreat. I feel like the rebrand I did during DBA, it fit me like pre-baby, if that makes sense. But I feel like me as a whole person has changed a lot in the past year, year and a half. So yeah, I feel like for a while there, I wasn't really in touch with myself and like
Hmm.
who I like wanted to be, and then like having the community of designers like affirm things in me, like you telling me, I see your designs are bold, these colors are sticky now, or like other people saying things like that. It kind of helped me become more self-aware, and then I was like, yeah, I don't want to be stuck in this little brown box.
Well, I think that's part of like just becoming a business owner and like being okay with getting feedback from the right people. Even now, when we get feedback from our students, even sometimes it's hard to receive feedback, but it's
Yeah.
needed to grow and learn. And once you're open to accepting the feedback, I feel like that's when you can actually like take a step back and be like, oh yeah, this person is right. And I do need to change this, even though
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, even though it's annoying, even though I worked really hard on this thing already
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I have to do it all over again. Like, I think that's just part of being a business owner and like maturing as well in business. What are some of the most impactful changes that you've made since graduating Design Biz Academy that you think really have contributed to like just your rebrand, growth, and booking your first high ticket client.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even have like a client portal before. I was just using like Google Drive and Google Docs. So like I had like previously like for a couple months used Honeybook as a just a photographer, but then when Marissa said that that's what she used, I like, re-upped or whatever. So I've been using Honeybook. I am like considering Motion, but I just haven't had the confidence to get in the back end and like play with it and like make sure it's, doing what I need to do. And I know that there's a lot to do with Notion too, but that's a off topic. But yeah, so a client portal and like invoices, contracts, like that kind of thing, having those on like automations and stuff, which is what I'm working right now in scaling school, is more automations. I don't know. Honestly, DBA changed everything. Like, I don't feel like I was really even a design studio before DBA. I feel like I was just kind of a jack of all trades. If you need a brochure, I'll make it for $50 type. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't like it. Yeah, it really propelled me into like a different level, I'd say. So I feel like everything's different. I'm rebranded, my website's different. I have so many more skills. I learned Illustrator because of DBA. I got into Show It, which is so much better than Wix, which is what I was used to using. Even like my design eye, I feel like has been refined, because that was the thing that I feel like I've carried through all of this is I feel like I have always had a pretty good eye. It's the skill to make what I'm envisioning in my head that was lacking. And so I feel like it's just propelled me into like I'm constantly learning since DBA, and it doesn't feel like school or like a burden when it's something that you're excited to be learning about.
Yeah. And the whole thing about the skill is what we always say to designers, because a lot of people will have the eye for design, but then they don't have the actual skill set yet. And then they get frustrated and they
Yeah.
walk away. And it's like you just have to see it through and like keep
Yeah.
practicing. And eventually you're going to get there. It might just take longer than you're hoping. But like the key is to keep going and not give up when you're not there yet.
Yeah, for sure. And like Illustrator is super scary. I hadn't touched it since my graphic design 101 class, my like freshman year of college.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really like my teacher and we were just doing things out of a textbook, and I was like, this, when am I ever going to use this? That was what I told myself.
Mm.
Because I wasn't planning on being a graphic designer, but that just goes to show you really don't know anything. But yeah, I think DBA propelled my business. Like, I mean, like I said, I don't feel like I was a business before. I mean, like I was, but I don't feel like it was real.
Would you recommend to others?
10 out of 10 would recommend. 5 stars on Yelp.
Where can people connect with you?
I am pretty active on Instagram and TikTok. Corson Studio is my @.
Yeah, and you post funny stuff, so like people should follow you.
Yeah, funny stuff. Maybe I'll start a podcast. Just kidding. I would.
Don't say just kidding. You never know. You just said that. You never know.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like I would really not know what to talk about. But let's just clip this for future Caroline if it happens.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, and I hope that this has inspired a lot of other people.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Join DBA.
If you want to join Design Biz Academy and get the same type of results Caroline has been able to get, information about how to apply can be found in the description. Or if you're interested in potentially attending our in-person retreat, you can check out our website to learn more about that. I hope you took something away from her story and it inspired you to raise your prices. See you in the next video.